Federal showdown, states sue Trump administration over National Guard deployments. Good evening. I'm Michael Patterson, and this is Free Press TV. Tonight, the Trump administration's effort to federalize National Guard troops and deploy them into Democratic-led cities has triggered a multi-state legal showdown with Illinois, Chicago, Oregon, and California all pushing back in federal court. Federal troop deployments sparked lawsuits. The White House's recent authorization to deploy National Guard troops to cities like Chicago and Portland has ignited a storm of litigation and political outrage. On Monday, Illinois and the city of Chicago sued the Trump administration, calling the federalization of Guard units from Illinois and Texas patently unlawful. The lawsuit filed in federal court seeks an immediate injunction to halt troop movements into Chicago, arguing the president has overstepped constitutional boundaries and infringed upon state authority. The suit came hours after President Trump authorized 300 Illinois National Guard members to deploy to Chicago to protect federal officers and assets. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also volunteered 400 of his state's Guard troops for national deployment under the president's discretion. In a late-night statement, White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson defended the decision, saying federal officers have been attacked and assaulted by left-wing rioters. Local leaders like Governor Pritzker have failed to restore order. Law enforcement has taken appropriate action to protect themselves in federal facilities. The Illinois ACLU, however, condemned the move, accusing the administration of undermining First Amendment freedoms and usurping states' police powers for political gain. Federal judge blocks deployment in Oregon again. Meanwhile, in Oregon, the Trump administration suffered another legal setback. A federal judge in Portland on Sunday night extended a temporary order blocking any National Guard deployment to the city, the second such ruling in as many days. The court found that the administration appeared to be attempting to circumvent Saturday's ruling by transferring California National Guard troops into Oregon. In response, California's state government joined Oregon's lawsuit, accusing the White House of blatant federal overreach. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield told CNN's Aaron Burnett, "This is America. The military does not belong on our streets unless it's under extreme circumstances, and that's exactly what the judge confirmed. If the president wants to be creative, we'll meet him in court." Insurrection Act threat looms during a Monday press briefing. President Trump floated the idea of invoking the Insurrection Act, a centuries-old statute that allows the president to deploy the U.S. military on domestic soil during times of rebellion or obstruction of federal law. Passed in 1792 and last revised in 1871, the act was most notably used during the civil rights era to enforce school integration and protect activists. Under the law, the president can mobilize troops even without a state's consent, if he deems that unlawful obstructions make it impossible to enforce federal law through normal judicial channels. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Rao vowed to challenge any such move, saying, "There is no insurrection. There are peaceful protests. The only provocation we've seen has come from ICE and Border Patrol agents firing pepper balls and tear gas at civilians, journalists, and even police officers." Legal experts warn of constitutional crisis. Constitutional scholars warn that this confrontation could become one of the most significant federal-state conflicts in modern U.S. history. The Posse Comitatus Act, which restricts the military from domestic law enforcement roles, is designed to prevent precisely this kind of deployment. If the Insurrection Act were invoked, the administration could effectively bypass governors and insert federal troops into U.S. cities, against local wishes, a step unseen in decades. Parallel federal cases, Border Patrol and gang violence in related developments. A 30-year-old woman, Marimar Martinez, remains hospitalized after being shot 5 times by a Customs and Border Protection CBP agent in Texas. Federal prosecutors allege she rammed a law enforcement vehicle. Her attorney disputes that claim and says body camera footage shows agents provoking the confrontation. Martinez, a U.S. citizen with no criminal record, has been charged with assaulting a federal officer but released from custody for medical treatment. And in Chicago, Juan Espinosa Martinez, a suspected member of the Latin Kings street gang, faces federal murder-for-hire charges. Prosecutors allege he offered $10,000 via Snapchat for the assassination of a Border Patrol official involved in Operation Midway Blitz. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche called the alleged plot an act of war on the rule of law, adding, "We will hunt anyone who targets those who protect our borders and communities, threaten law enforcement, and the full weight of the U.S. government will come for you." Political fallout and public reaction. Governor Greg Abbott posted photos of Texas Guard troops boarding planes, writing that they were deploying now to protect federal officials nationwide. The move drew criticism from Democrats, who accused Abbott of political theater and endangering state residents for federal optics. Civil liberties groups are warning that these deployments, combined with federal lawsuits and threats to invoke the Insurrection Act, mark an alarming escalation of federal power over states' rights. A spokesperson for the Illinois ACLU summarized the growing concern. Never in modern times has the federal government undermined bedrock constitutional protections on this scale. We are watching the federalization of protest suppression as federal judges weigh these cases, and the White House doubles down on its authority. The country stands at a constitutional crossroads where questions of state sovereignty, civil liberties, and presidential power collide head. I'm Michael Patterson. This is Free Press TV. Stay tuned for continuing coverage as this legal battle unfolds across America's cities and courtrooms.